are going live. While we're waiting, if everyone can please just put their district, borough in front of their name. If you need us to help you, please just write it in the chat. And I believe we are now live on YouTube. Okay, so good morning, everyone. Our Spanish interpreters are here. Can you please make your announcement?
Hola, hola, muy buenos días, damas y caballeros. En esta reunión les ofrecemos un servicio de interpretación simultánea del inglés al español. Si desean escuchar en español, tendrán que llamar por teléfono llamando al 347-966-4114 e ingresar a continuación el siguiente código de conferencia. 470-214-656, símbolo numeral. Repito, para escuchar la interpretación al español por teléfono, marquen el 347-966-4114 e ingresen el código de conferencia 470-214-656, símbolo numeral. Al llamar, les pedimos que por favor silencien los micrófonos de todos sus dispositivos, sobre todo los teléfonos, para evitar ruidos de fondo o ecos durante la interpretación. Muchas gracias y buena escucha. Thanks. End of announcement.
Thank you so much. Okay, so it is 9:34. Would someone motion to call this meeting to order? Someone make a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Rima. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Melissa. Okay, unfortunately, Josephine, my co-chair, is not here today, so I will be doing roll call. So District 1. District 2.
Here.
Thank you, Anthony. District 3. District 4. District 5. District 6.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning, Caroline. District 7. District 8.
Present.
Good morning, Letitia. District 9.
Present.
Good morning, Priscilla. District 10. District 11. District 12. District 13. District 14.
Good morning.
Good morning, Letitia.
No, Miss Perez.
Okay, Anthony, can you just check District 14 for me? District 15. District 16. District 17.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Veronica.
Good morning, Veronica.
District 18. District 19. District 20 is excused. District 21.
Good morning.
Good morning, Violetta. District 22. District 23.
Grand Rising and happy Thursday to everyone.
Good morning, Tanya. District 24. District 25. District 26. District 27. District 28. District 29.
Here.
Morning, Priscilla. District 30.
Present.
Morning, Becca. District 31.
Present.
Morning, Melissa.
Good morning.
District 32. District 75. Brooklyn High School, I am here. Bronx High School,
Grand Rising.
Morning Rima, Manhattan High School,
Good morning, I'm here.
Good morning Rosa,
Morning.
Queens High School President's Council. I saw Quentin before. Okay, and Staten Island High School.
Here.
Good morning. Was there anyone I missed? Okay. So the attendance link was dropped in the chat. I'll drop it again for everyone to fill out. Okay, next slide.
CPAC meeting procedures and standing rules. Please wait to be recognized before speaking.
What's happening?
It's in play mode. Be respectful, courteous, and professional. Disagree amicably. Remember, others would like to speak, so be mindful of the time. Try to keep your responses to 2 minutes or less. Don't unmute yourself to say you have your hands up. Side conversations in the chat are prohibited. Please don't be disrespectful. Do not ask follow-up questions after your question has been answered. Use the chat to ask follow-up questions. Infractions will result in warning on the first infraction, except in some cases, muted for the rest of the meeting or removal from the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Priscilla. Okay, so it is Black History Month and we have Valentine's Day coming up after Friday the 13th. So this should be an interesting month. Some announcements. Well, here's our agenda for this today. Some announcements. We have a new election certification form that will be released after midwinter recess. So president's councils and CPAC will now be able to receive the certification forms. Personal information from parents is no longer there. It's no longer included. So now we can continue to get these forms. It was definitely a privacy issue and we wanted to make sure that everyone felt safe and that their information wasn't being shared amongst people that should not have it. So we want to thank FACE for including CPAC, our executive board to partner on upgrading and revising the form. So that was very important to us. Now we have our, sorry, I'm just trying to let someone in. Now we have our other announcements. We'll move. The 2026 school survey is open. It will be open until April 12th. Sorry, there's a typo. April 12th. February 9th to 13th is Respect for All Week. February 16th to 20th, schools are closed for midwinter recess. 3K admissions will close on February 27th and offers will be released May 19th. Pre-K admissions are closed on February 27th and will be released on May 12th. March 5th is afternoon and evening parent-teacher conference for elementary schools and pre-K centers, and students have a half day. On March 12th, it will be afternoon and evening parent-teacher conference for middle schools and D75, and those students have a half day. Kindergarten admissions is now closed and the office will be released on March 31st. New York City's 2026 Summer Youth Employment Program is open and the deadline to submit the application is on February 27th. New York State has unclaimed funds. We want to make sure that all PAs and PTAs, presidents, councils, and school administrators are aware that you can have unclaimed funds sitting there. And we want to make sure that you go on the website and you can fill out the form to receive these funds that are owed to either your PA, PTA, President's Council, or school. And if you should look it up and see that your school is there, you can share that information with your principal so that you can claim these funds. the chancellor, our new chancellor, Kamar Samuels, is hosting our schools, our future conversations with the chancellor. It's an in-person community conversation. There is a link to register in order to attend. It's in all 5 boroughs during the week and on a Saturday to accommodate as many parents as possible. So we want to make sure that you have that registration link and you also share it with your school communities. And the UFT, the Brooklyn UFT Parent and Community Liaison, Ian Stewart, is hosting his 4th workshop. It's an IEP series, and this will be on the school budgets and school leadership teams. It will be hosted on February 26th from 4 to 6 p.m. And there's also a registration link to attend. I want to see if I can drop all this in the chat. Is that possible? I am over the limit. Okay, I will be dropping the links in the chat, or Violetta, if you can drop them in the chat during the meeting so that this way everyone is aware. Okay, next we have our CPAC committees. So as stated last month, if you'd like to join one or more of our committees, the voting members received an email with a link and the questionnaire to remind them if they want to join the committees. Members of the community, you can join by going to www.cpacnyc.com, and under the standing committees, there are links to view the committees and to join the committee or committees that you're interested in. The dates and times of all the committees are listed here. And the committee meeting summaries, last month we dropped them in the chat. And for the future, some of them meet monthly, some of them meet quarterly. But when we receive the summaries from the committee chairs, we will email them to all the voting members. So next on the agenda, we have January's minutes. So the minutes were sent out in advance to the voting members to review prior to today's meeting. So can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Anthony.
Second by Samuels.
Thank you, Tanya, for the second. Any objections? Okay, the minutes are approved with no objections. I just want to see if the Spanish interpreters can make their announcement again.
Yes, of course. Hola, buenos días. Para escuchar la reunión en español, por favor, llamen al número de teléfono 347-966-4114, seguido del código de conferencia PIN 470-214-656, símbolo numeral. De nuevo, por favor, para escuchar la reunión en español, llame al número de teléfono 347-966-4114, seguido del número de conferencia PIN 470-214-656, símbolo numeral. Le pedimos que, por favor, al llamar desactiven los micrófonos de todos los dispositivos para evitar ruidos de fondo. Muchas gracias. Spanish announcement finished. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, next on the agenda, we have a resolution on uniform eligibility for parents of multilingual language learners to serve on citywide and community education councils. This was also sent out to the voting members. Becca, are you ready?
Sure.
Okay.
All right. So this is the CPAC resolution on uniform eligibility for parents of multilingual language learners to serve on citywide and community education councils. This resolution calls for uniform eligibility requirements for the parents and caregivers of multilingual language learners, scholars to serve on their community education councils, citywide council on education, English language learners, and the ability for CELL to fulfill its required duty to send a representative to the citywide council on high schools by amending the New York State Education Law 2590, hence calling the New York State legislation to support and pass the proposed Senate Bill S6355 and Assembly Bill A10079. Whereas the Chancellor Parent Advisory Council, CPAC, acknowledges the City Council on English Language Learners established by New York State Education Law 2590-B/5AI. The law are tasked with the power to advise and consent on any educational or instructional policy involving bilingual, multilingual, or English as a second language programs, sorry, and make recommendations as appropriate on how to improve the efficiency and delivery of such services. And whereas since its establishment in 2010, it has been difficult to recruit parents of current multi-language learners who are eligible to serve on citywide and community education councils. It was necessary to amend New York state law in 2013 and 2014 to expand engagement and empowerment of families of MLLs. Amendments to the law allowed parents of students currently in a bilingual or ELL program or who were in such a program within the preceding 2 years to serve on the CCEL and the community education councils. And whereas the changes to parent candidate eligibility did improve the pool of parents of MLL scholars to serve on the CCECs, but it was obvious that more changes needed to expand parent and caregiver eligibility. And whereas the eligibility requirements for CCEL, CECs, CCHS are not uniform, which results in confusion during elections. To be eligible to serve on a CEC seat set aside for a parent of an MLL scholar, a student must be currently or have been an MLL. To be eligible to serve on a CCEL, a parent must currently have a student in a bilingual or ELL program or have been in such a program within the preceding 2 years. To be eligible to serve as a CCEL parent representative, the CCHS parent or caregiver must have a high school student currently in a bilingual or ELL program. And whereas during the New York State 2019 legislative session, New York State Legislature amended the law, which went into effect July 1st, 2019, to ensure that at least one position on a CEC is filled by a parent or a caregiver of a current student who is or has been at any time an MLL scholar. Whereas amendment to the law that took effect on July 1st, 2019 did not provide for parents, caregivers of scholars who are currently or have been at any time an MLL parent or caregiver to be eligible to serve on CCEL or as a CCEL representative to the CCHS. And whereas when the July 1st, 2023 term began, CCEL was unable to seat 6 members required to form a quorum. Out of the 9 elected parents, only 3 attended meetings plus 2 public advocate appointees, which meant only 5 members regularly attended. In November 2023, it was necessary for 2 NYC DOE trustees to assist CCEL in declaring 5 vacancies so that the new CCEL members could be appointed to achieve quorum. And whereas the inability to achieve quorum seriously hindered the ability of CCEL to perform its duties and responsibilities, including the ability to appoint 1 parent representative to the CCHS since 2010. And whereas the amendment that provides for at least 1 position on the District Community Education Council be filled by a parent of a current student who is or has been at any time an MLL does not mention that the same provision should also apply to eligibility of parents of current students who are or have been at any time an MLL to serve on the Citywide Council on English Language Learners and the CCELL appointee to the Citywide Council of High Schools. And whereas omitting the provision from the amended law that allows parents of students who are currently or have been at any time in ELL to serve on the CCEL and CCHS does not support parent involvement and empowerment for all parents and students who are learning English. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the amendment in state law 22590 that provides for parents and caregivers of current students who are or have been at any time an MLL shall be eligible to apply to serve on the district level community education councils, shall also apply to Citywide Council on English Language Learners and Citywide Council on High Schools. And be it further resolved that the Chancellor's Parent Advisory Council fully expects an immediate change in state law 2590 that shall allow parents and caregivers of current students who have been an MLL, to be eligible to run for, and those parents, caregivers be selected and appointed to serve on CEC, ELL, and CCHS. This will match the current eligibility requirements of parents, caregivers, and scholars who are currently or have ever been an ELL to serve on the CECs. It will also bring eligibility uniformity and increase engagement and empowerment for all parents of students who are learning English. To give visual aid for our visual learners, please see the chart below that displays what is currently stated in the law and what the law should read after it is amended. to state law so that all MLL parents and caregivers can have an opportunity to fully participate in their children's education. CPAC supports and strongly encourages the New York State Legislature to pass Senate Bill S6355/Assembly Bill A10079. Be it further resolved that the Chancellor's Parent Advisory Council, who represents New York City public schools scholars and their families, including the 44,469 multilingual language learners, high schoolers, and that are all scholars and their families of New York State public schools are supported and represented on all platforms of student and parent caregiver voice. Therefore, it is imperative that the New York State Education Law 2590 is amended to ensure that MLL parents, caregivers are involved, engaged, and empowered on a citywide council on high schools. Do I need to read the chart? Or are we good with that? Okay.
You're muted, Randy.
Thank you. A discussion on the resolution? Would someone make a motion to move the vote to the
I
floor?
motion to pass.
Thank you, Rima.
Second, Manhattan High School seconds.
Thank you, Rosa. Okay, so we're gonna take a vote. I guess I will be doing that roll call. District 1 is absent. District 2,
Yes.
District 3 is absent. District 4 is absent. 5. District 6. District 6. District 7 is absent. District 8.
Yeah.
Thank you. District 9. District 9. Priscilla. Ten is absent, 11 is absent, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, Veronica.
Yes.
Thank you. 18, 19, 20, 21.
Yes.
Thank you. 22.
Yes.
Thank you. 23.
Yes.
Thank you. 24 is absent. 25.
Yes.
Thank you. 26 is absent. 27. 28.
Good morning.
Good morning. 28, yes or no on the resolution? Giselle, District 28. $29.
Yes.
Thank you, Priscilla. 30.
Yes.
Thank you. 31.
Yes.
Thank you. 32 is absent. 75. Ashley?
Here.
Yes or no on the resolution?
Yes.
Thank you. I vote yes. Brooklyn High School. Bronx High School.
Approve.
Thank you. Manhattan High School.
Yes.
Thank you. Queens High School.
Yes.
Thank you. Staten Island High School.
Yes.
Thank you. I just want to go back to who's here. District 6, Caroline. Is she still here? Yeah, she's still here. She must have stepped away. And District 28, Giselle, yes or no on the resolution?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14. 17. Okay, so it passes unanimously. And we're gonna move on to the next resolution. Next slide. Becca?
Okay, so hold on, let me make sure I got it up here. All right, this is a resolution to expand student Omni for enhanced and equitable student Omni cards approved by our legislative committee. Dear Mayor Mamdani, Speaker Menon, Council Member Dinowitz, and Chancellor Samuels, the Chancellor's Parent Advisory Council has long supported efforts to ensure that all New York City public school scholars receive transportation services that they need. CPAC represents all the PAs and PTAs in the New York City public schools, and through them, the parents and caregivers of New York City public school children. In the wake of the school bus driver shortages, the increased reporting of lost and damaged OmniCards, and the mayor's call for fare-free buses for all New Yorkers, we believe, as Mayor Mamdani, fast and free buses will not only make buses reliable and accessible, but will improve safety for riders and operators. In regards to our New York City scholars, faster and free unlimited bus service will ensure attendance, punctuality, and the ability to participate in enriching after-school activities. CPAC therefore would like to give our support to the following derived from the Transportation Alternatives Youth Activist Community Petition to support affordable and reliable transportation for all students. CPAC stance and resolution is to expand student Omni for fairer and enhanced student Omni cards. Whereas, 1, New York City scholars, the vast majority walk, bike, or take public transit to get to school. The latter uses the current Student Omni program, which often leads students to face dilemmas, issues, and confrontations with transit workers or lack of support when traveling. 2, since most of New York City scholars take public transportation to get to school and extracurricular activities, public transit is usually the only option for scholars, and it is important to ensure that scholars have easy and free access to ride without barriers. Under the current Student Omni card, 3, many students are excluded because they live too close. They need to be more than a half mile to school or receive yellow bus service, even though they still rely on public transportation for access for internships and extracurricular activities for after school. Students who qualify are still limited to only 4 rides a day, and they may face difficulty with traveling to and from extracurricular activities. 4, in addition, this current student Omni, unlike the retired student MetroCard, is made of paper, leaving the student Omni card susceptible to being damaged more readily and frequently, which leads to card deactivation or reliability getting a replacement in a timely manner. Card errors by damaged cards, lost cards is stressful enough when traveling, compounded by the lack of aid, immediate support, or funds. Our scholars have to make decisions. How do I get to school? Should I attend today, even though I still be late? And should I jump the turnstiles, or do I argue or ignore the bus driver? These are the decisions that New York City public school scholars should not be facing. Therefore, be it resolved, the Chancellor's Parent Advisory Council implores New York City to act now to enhance the student Omni card and make it available to all New York City public school scholars. Our scholars cannot wait for the pilot program fare-free buses for all New Yorkers to become a reality for everyone. CPAC strongly urges Mayor Zohran Mamdani, Chancellor Kumar Samuels, Speaker Julie Menon, Education Committee Chair Eric Dinowitz, and the members of the City Council to ensure the following. 1, universal access. All students should have access to student Omni cards, regardless of where they live, regardless if they live less than half a mile from their school, or be eligible for the yellow bus. Keep in mind, if students take part in after school, they cannot take the school bus back home. Irrespective of their mode of transportation to school, many scholars participate in clubs, school sports, tutoring, and other enrichment activities, or they have mentorships, internships, and jobs that require the use of public transportation. 2, unlimited rides. Student Omni cards must have unlimited rides. With only 4 rides a day, scholars with multiple transfers, because it is the shortest and fastest, or live in a transportation desert, extracurricular activities or family responsibilities will be forced to pay for the extra commuter rides if they have the means, or take the risk of being stopped for fare evasion after they reach the limit. 3, fare communication and deactivations. Currently, student Omni cards are flagged for suspicious activity if they show too many varied points of origin. Those cards deemed suspicious activity may be deactivated, sometimes without notice. This unfairly targets scholars with complex living situations, such as those in shared custody arrangements, experiencing housing instability, students in temporary housing, or commuting from different locations due to family circumstances. This practice can also discriminate against scholars with economic and social hardships. Card deactivation should be transparent between the scholar, the family, and the school. 4, a faster, more reliable replacement process. Schools often struggle with keeping a consistent supply of Omni cards because they are not given enough for all eligible scholars and or for card replacement by Office of Pupil Transportation. Timely and prompt shipment process for replacement of lost and damaged cards to schools needs to be established. Perhaps a computerized balance counts for based on number of eligible scholars at the school. When they fall below the determined minimum, additional cards are sent to the school. Due to the paper design, the card is easily damaged, often lost, and sometimes stolen. Scholars are entitled to receive cards that are resistant to properly serve scholars community needs, easy to replace the same school day when they are reported missing or damaged. Damaged Omni cards. Student Omni card should be produced in the same materials as its predecessor, the Student Metro card, or the hard plastic of the current regular or reduced fare Omni cards. This would minimize the amount of reported defective and damaged Omni cards. The Chancellor's Parent Advisory Council would like to summarize, expand Student Omni for enhanced equitable Student Omni card by using the Transportation Alternatives Youth Activist Community Flyer. It's attached below.
Okay. Discussion on this resolution? Okay, would someone like to make a motion to?
Motion to approve.
Oh, I have one comment. I'm sorry, I couldn't get my hand raised quick enough. This is District 8.
Okay,
We buses are clearly mentioned, and I do understand the alignment with the free bus initiative that the mayor has spoken about. But do we think we need to put the subway and the train in there explicitly? Because there are some students who don't use the bus, but they do use the train, or they transfer between bus and train.
so you just want the language to say bus and train?
I mean, I don't know if we wanted to say bus and train, or if we just wanted to say mass transit. I don't, I don't know how that would work, but I just know that we're explicitly saying bus, and we're not talking about the train. And I know a lot of our students, at least in the Bronx, do have trouble in the train stations where they have the police and all of that stuff going on. So I am proposing that we do amend the language to either make it broad and just say mass transit, or if we do explicitly state train and subway.
Okay. Is there a second?
I second the motion with the amendment.
Okay, so are we gonna agree on mass transit or explicitly bus and train?
Mass transit, I think, just to make it all inclusive.
Okay, so is that the only proposed amendment?
Sorry, Randy. Yes, I have a question. Is that including the Long Island railroads or ferries, or is that only exclusive to MTA?
Well, the Omni card is for
Oh,
MTA.
this is Omni, yeah. So that's a tough one. I know we had a resolution in the past and we had discussed we would put Long Island Railroad on the table.
For Omni, I don't believe, I'm not 100% sure if it includes Long Island Railroad. Does anyone know?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, so it's just, so this
Yeah.
resolution for Omni, this is specific to Omni. We could always entertain a future resolution for Long Island Railroad.
Right. Okay. So does this include ferry as well, since Omni is part of ferry?
Everything includes, so mass transit would include anything that you can use Omni for would be included. So mass
Okay.
transit would include that.
All right. So then no other amendments. This looks great. Thank you.
Okay, so the motion to approve with the amendment of including mass transit in the resolution. So that's the Tisha and Rosa second. So we're going to put it to a vote. District 1 is absent. District 2. District 2,
Yes.
thank you. District 3. District 3, yes or no on the resolution? District 4,
Yes.
thank you. District 5 is not here. District 6,
I vote yes.
thank you. District 7 is not here. District 8,
Yes.
District 9,
Yes.
District 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 are not here. District 17. Veronica,
That's a yes. Thank you.
okay.
25 says yes.
We didn't get there yet. 18, 19, 20, 21,
Yes.
22,
Hi, yes.
23,
Yes.
24 is not here. 25 is a yes.
Yes, it's a yes.
Thank you, Veronica. 24, 25 is yes. 26 is not here. 27, 28.
Yeah.
Thank you. 29,
Yes.
30,
Oops. Yes.
31,
Yes.
32 is not here. District 75. Ashley? Okay, Brooklyn High School, I vote yes. Bronx High School,
Approve.
thank you. Manhattan High School,
It's a yes for me. And also District 3 said yes in the chat. Just wanted to point that out.
thank you. Queens
Of
High
course.
School,
Yes.
Staten Island High School.
Yes.
Okay, and I see in the chat, Ray, you could not unmute. So we have you as a yes. Any abstentions? Okay, so that passes also unanimously with the addition to include mass transit. So our resolutions passed. Next slide, Violetta. And we are now preparing for spring elections, and we have Anthony Aguilar, our face liaison, to have his hot topics. So Anthony, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Can I share my screen? Perfect. All right, so today we'll be speaking majority about nominations. I just want to prepare you for what's coming up, and then hopefully next month we can speak about the actual elections, both in person and virtual. So just wanted to say the spring election term is coming up, where we vote in the new members for next year. However, to do that, we must start with a couple of things. So the first thing is speaking about or talking about the nomination committee. Please check your bylaws to see when the date that's recommended for your district or your PAPTA. Sorry, for your PAPTA, not district. Because it varies. Best practice for me that I've learned is to start it earlier, just in case if you can't form one, you still have some time to try to form one before April. So as you see here, April 1st is the deadline to notify your principal of your election date. Then these are just some reminders. 14 days before your election, send out the notice to your principal so that they can send it out within 10 days to the school community. Another best practice says June 15th here that you should try to host your elections. However, if we can get it done before that, that would be even better for two reasons. It gives the President's Council more time to try to host their elections, and it also gives the new incoming board time to shadow the old board to learn best practices and to transfer records or know where those records are before time. So when they start, they're already a step ahead of the game, if you will. So forming a nomination committee. That consists of 3 to 5 members. This committee, basically, they select their own chairperson, and the nomination committee is responsible for hosting the elections, to get nominations, to basically prepare for the elections. People who can serve on the nomination committee are as follows: parent, legal appointed guardian, person in parental relation, foster parent, so on and so forth. In some cases, the principal can determine these things. People who cannot serve. Anybody who is running for a position on the board should not be on the nomination committee. And people employed in school, sorry. What happens if you don't have anybody that would like to serve? There are a couple of options. You can reach out to the President's Council to see if they would like to host your elections for you in the expedited election format. One thing I do want to focus on is having the elections done by the end of the school year. Why? Because if you don't, you're giving your autonomy away, and the principal will have to reestablish your PAPTA in the fall time. So we want to keep our autonomy. So by having the elections before June, before the end of your term, is important. Basically, as I stated before, here are some of the responsibilities for the committee. So to canvass the membership for eligible voters, determine candidacy eligibility, sending out your notice, and then conducting the election process. Yeah. So canvassing your membership basically is when you can ask for nominations. So there are multiple ways that elections are ran. You have to make sure that you are referring to your bylaws. Your bylaws should tell you how, with methods, your elections should be held in, virtual or in person. And then when you're canvassing for nominations, best practices to keep it open. However, it depends on what your bylaws state. We don't want to exclude people. That's why I say keep it open so you can get nominations before time. And then you can also get some nominations at your meeting. You do not want to close elections before the meeting, in my point of view, because if you do not get anybody to fill those vacancies or to run, then you can't open it at your meeting if the nomination notice went out and say that after this date it will be closed. So we have to make sure that we are aware of the language that we are putting in any something that is distributed, because if you go against what you write on those pieces of paper that you send out or those emails that you send out, your elections can be grieved and will be overturned if you're not following the language that you place in your own documentation. So with that being said, make sure that we're following everything that is in your bylaws, in any notification that goes out, so on and so forth. As I said, platform selection is based on your bylaws. We have two methods, in person or virtual. There is no hybrid option at this current time. The nomination committee should know the following things: how to unmute people, how to share screens, share features, things of that nature. Basically, how to utilize the platform. And then I will save everything else election-wise for next time, because I do want to go in depth with in-person and virtual elections. So I will leave it here, but we should start thinking about forming our nomination committees as soon as possible. Thank you.
Okay. I just want to make sure that everyone that's here today is aware that the nominations are for PAs and PTAs. President's councils do not have nominating committees. They are held as an expedited election, and it's just one meeting. So just want to be clear on that. Okay, next we have Jesse for base updates.
Thank you, Randy, and good morning, everyone. Always a pleasure to be here and to give our updates on our work. So thank you, as always, for the opportunity. So for our upcoming updates for this month, I wanted to talk a little bit about a variety of different programs that our teams are involved in. So over the past month, the FACE Homeschool Partnership Team has focused on turning strong program launches into sustained engagement across New York City Public Schools. Our weekly Building Strong Foundations in Literacy and Math sessions continue to grow, with expanded offerings, increased registrations, and strong return participations. We're very happy about that. Families are actively engaged, asking thoughtful questions, applying those strategies at home, and inviting others to join. And it's positioning the series as a trusted citywide entry point for family learning. Also want to talk about through our facing community, we hosted additional in-person trainings across multiple districts. Reading ambassadors and family connectors are increasingly stepping into leadership roles, supporting facilitation, coordination, and partnership with our schools. And the team remained visible at key school and community events, connecting hundreds of families to literacy, math, and broader community resources. We're seeking meaningful traction, expanded reach, and deeper family relationships and stronger partnerships that position families as leaders in this work. A couple of updates on a few of our additional programs for families. So this week, we had our most recent sessions for our Family Connectors program, which was yesterday. And basically what those are, they're weekly training sessions with guest presenters from partner organizations who share information about a myriad of programs and services available for families. And update are on Face in Community. We're holding monthly events in New York City Public School care districts, districts 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 19, 23, 24, 31, and 32. And our most recent ones that are happening are this week. We had on Monday, we had a session in District 24, Tuesday in District 10. Today we'll be in District 9, and I'll put the remainders of these in the chat, members. But basically, Thursday also in District 19, and for the remainder of the month, we have sessions in District 32, District 23, District 12, District 4, and 2 sessions in District 31. Also, this past winter, FACE launched a virtual workshop series, New York New York Public Schools Science of Reading and Math workshop series designed to equip families with practical science-based strategies to support their children's reading and math development. The sessions translate research into simple, actionable tools parents can use at home, with a focus on supporting K-5 students who may be struggling. With a few sessions remaining, families still have the opportunity to join this 7-part series and build strong foundations in literacy and math while strengthening confidence as partners in their child's learning. And council members, I will put all this information that I'm sharing in the chat with a variety of different links, but the remaining sessions are coming up on the 26th and the 5th of March. So I will put that in the chat. I will put a flyer in the chat we can share with families with additional information. And also like to talk about our L Ambassadors program. So there are final sessions ahead. Just in summary, as part of the Office of Multilingual Learners, English Language Learner Development Curriculum Pilot under the New York City Reads Initiative, OML and our office have partners to strengthen family engagement across 8 districts through the L Ambassador program. So we launched this in December, and the program has already engaged 628 registered families from pilot schools through weekly virtual sessions designed to support multilingual families with clear, accessible information about the ELD pilot and practical ways to support learning at home. Building on FACE's 3 years of science of reading family trainings, the program emphasizes culturally responsive outreach and consistent communication to keep families connected and informed. So as I mentioned, there are just a few remaining sessions. I will put this in the chat, but just wanted to share that the remaining sessions are Tuesday, February 24th is the remaining session that we have scheduled upcoming. So we look forward to sharing that information, and the program remains open to all families and participating pilot schools, and eligible families have been invited to join the program. Also want to talk about citywide and community education councils. As we all know, each CCEC hosts a town hall in their district with a chancellor once during their 2-year term. This is an opportunity to share information, hear about the community's concerns, and respond to questions. So there wanted to highlight the upcoming town halls in February and March, and just share that information. I'll share this in the chat as well. Tonight, we will be having a town hall in District 22, so we'd like to thank Community Education Council 22 for hosting this town hall with the Chancellor, and that's tonight at PS 217 at 1100 Newkirk Avenue, Brooklyn, New York. Our next 2 will be in March, and that'll be in District 2, CC2, and CC4. So I thank both of those community education councils for hosting the town hall in March. CC2 will be on March 5th, and CC4 will be on March 11th. And also, we encourage all of our families to get involved in their education council. So, as you know, as CPAC is a leader in supporting families and representing parent concerns throughout the city, so are our community and citywide education councils, and they play a key role in connecting partners to meaningful opportunities and help parents make their voices heard and shape their community. Their community's education policy. So we encourage anyone interested to join a community and citywide education council, and I'll put information in the chat on councils and on where you can go to attend a meeting. And if you have more information, reach out to us on possible opportunities. And also, last 2 things that I'd like to share. Everyone, is that I'd like to encourage parents and legal guardians of New York City Public Schools to apply for these vacancies. And also, there is another opportunity that I'd also like to share, and it's the Equity Council, the FACE Equity Council. And just in summary, what the FACE Equity Council is it's a team of parent leaders from both community and citywide education councils and the Chancellor's Parent Advisory Council that provides recommendations on the resolution of complaints of alleged violations of Chancellor's Regulation D210. So I will put this information as well, and I just wanted to share with members of CPAC that CPAC members can apply for the 4 available seats on the FACE Equity Council, and I will put a link to the application and in the chat so that if you have any questions, I'll have that application for your review. And with that said, always appreciate the opportunity to be able to share a few updates on what we're doing here at FACE, and also thanking the Chances Parent Advisory Council for your leadership and your partnership in this work. Can never say enough about the work that you do and the sacrifices you make day in and day out on behalf of our parents and families. And it's always a privilege to work alongside you in this work. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Jesse. And we appreciate the partnership that we have with FACE, so thank you. Okay, I know that next we were supposed to have transportation. They're going to be on after the chancellor speaks. So I know that Nicole Williams is here. She is the executive director of STEM, and she has a presentation for New York City Solves. Nicole, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Do I have sharing privileges, and is it okay to share my screen?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Give me 1 second. Let's make sure we can. Oops. I think I have to do it this way first. Share. Okay. Randy, can you just give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen?
You're good.
Perfect. We're good to go. Okay. And if any point you guys can't hear me or you want me to slow down, please just let me know. My name is Nicole Williams. I'm the executive director of STEM for New York City Public Schools. And so everything math and science comes out of my office. This is just a high level overview so we can norm a little bit on New York City Public Schools. We have 45 superintendents, about 1,600 schools. I like to tell people we have about 1 million students. And this is some of our demographic breakdown. On the next slide, we look at some math proficiency data. One of the important things to know about this data is we look at our overall proficiency for grades 3 through 8 and our overall proficiency for Algebra 1. And the proficiency rate for Algebra 1 is 50%, and the proficiency rate for 3 to 8 is 57%. So something is not working, right? Only about 50% of our students have a proficiency rate in mathematics. So when I look at this data, some of the things that I start to think about is I think about our subgroups. And so if we go back to our previously slide, we see that there are 74% economically disadvantaged students in New York City public schools. Out of those 74%, if we look at 3 through 8, only 51% of that 74% is proficient. And then so we start to look at this data and we notice that the data doesn't look well, but there are some real inequities across our system in terms of subgroups. When we look at our students with disabilities, only 29% of the students in disabilities in grade 3 through 8 are proficient. It's a problem. Our low scores are not a problem because our students are not capable. Our low scores are a problem because the math practices that we've been using to teach in our system are out of date per se, right? We're not building math communities where our students feel as if they are part of this math world. They're not coming to class feeling as if they can do this work. And so we're thinking about ways in which we can rethink our math practices to make sure that we have equitable practices across the city to allow all of our students to really be proficient. Along with NYC Reads, we have a common goal, this idea of centering student thinking and making sure that every student experiences grade level content every single day. For a very long time, we had been thinking about if a student has learning gaps, right? Let's focus on, let's just teach them at what they know. And so that might have meant that we had a 6th grader and the content that was being presented to them may be 4th grade, maybe 5th grade, depending on where they're at. Teaching in those ways only causes larger learning gaps. And so we want to make sure that every student gets grade level content in front of them and that we think about what students know as a way to bridge those learning gaps and give them extra support and extra time to make sure that they can engage with that grade level content on that given day. We're moving away from the idea of just memorization, having students being able to spit back procedures, protocols, formulas, because many of our students, including many adults, our memory fails us. And when our memory fails us, we need to be able to say, I know a way in which I can figure this out, even if I can't remember the the formula, even if I can't remember the steps my teacher told me. So we're moving towards a way that really allows students to make sense, build meaning, connect what they previously know to what they're learning, and to connect big ideas over time. When we think about NYC Solves, we have really designed and structured NYC Solves in a really meaningful way. We wanted to make sure that we targeted 3 things across our system. 1, rigorous instruction. 2, we wanted to make sure that we were building educator capacity. And 3, we wanted to make sure that we were building mindsets over time. So we know that across our large system, different schools were doing different things. Even sometimes different teachers in the same building were doing different things during their math classrooms. And so we want to make sure that we have one standard high quality curricular material that goes across a district, so that districts can plan together, teachers can engage together, and they can think about how math builds over time. With the curriculum, that's only the first step. We need to make sure that we're building in time for our educators to collaborate with one another, engage in professional learning so that they too can make meaning of what's being taught. And so many people, right, are so quick to proclaim, like, I'm not a math person. I don't do math. Math is not my thing. And we want to make sure that over time, our educators, our teachers, our students, our families can say, like, yes, we are math people. We can do this, right? We may not love math. It may not be like our preferred subject, but we at least like it enough to engage and we're open to it. When educators come into a math classroom with the idea of they don't like math, that rubs off on our students. And so we're really trying to build math mindsets to make sure that everyone can believe that they are really true mathematicians. One of the ways in which we are shifting practice is we, like NYC Reads, have math shifts. We have a from column and a to column. We're not saying what's in the from column is bad. We're just saying over time, as we learn more, we do better, right? And so we're moving away from some practices, which may be a little bit outdated, to practices that allow students to be at the forefront of their learning. So we're moving away from opening a classroom where a teacher is giving students specific directions, do this, do this, do this, to a classroom where a teacher allows the students to make some meaning, to think about what they know in order to engage in today's content, have some time to engage in conversation with some of their peers, and then the teacher will come in and, if needed, be explicit with the teaching. This idea makes sure that, like, students know that what they know is honored and that they are the mathematicians in the classroom and hold the knowledge, versus when we model everything, right? It's like the teacher has the knowledge. We're really trying to bring in a place where there are math tasks that are open for all students. So I will give you an example. If we have a task that says, like, 3 friends shared 9 cookies, right? Some people may jump to multiplication. Others may think about, let me think about groups and let me, like, divvy it out. So there are different ways to think about that problem, but still get you to a solution and a pathway that works. And so the tasks that we're engaging our students with do absolutely that. They allow students to use different strategies to engage at a grade level, in a grade level content. And then we also have tasks that not only allow you to engage in grade level content, but if you have that grade level understanding, you can go deeper. We are really encouraging our students to engage in conversation. And conversation, not just to tell me or to spit back information that I just gave them, but to really show that they have a deep level of understanding around the what and the why. Why does this work? And really thinking about what students know as a way to push them forward. And of course, high quality curriculum wraps this all up in a nice bow. We have a trajectory that we are on to make sure that our students have educational, career, and lifelong success. The high quality instruction and material is the first step, right? The shifts are a way to make sure that the pedagogy and the teaching that's happening in the classroom give equitable instruction for all students across our large city, so that when students leave us, they're ready for careers. They're ready to be a positive force for change. They're ready to take on life and communities, and that they can compete successfully in today's competitive world. We don't know what jobs are going to be available for tomorrow, but what we do know is that the ways in which we're shifting math instruction are setting our students up to be critical thinkers, problem solvers, to engage in collaborative work. So many times, we hear from the job force that when students leave New York City public school, they don't have those soft skills that are needed. It's really hard to teach soft skills, right? They can teach them the job, but they can't teach them how to think critically. They can't teach them how to be problem solvers. Those are skills that we're teaching them in New York City public schools so that when they leave us, they have those skills ready at hand. So our goal is really ambitious, but we really do think it's attainable. By 2035, all students will develop math abilities that they need for educational, career, and lifelong success. We have an overall strategy we're rolling out in phases. We are giving unprecedented amounts of supports, and we're monitoring for continuous learning. On the next few slides, I'll dig into each of these so you can get an idea of what we mean. So we're rolling out in phases. As many of you know, New York City Read started in elementary school. NYC Solves started in Algebra 1 for a few reasons. We didn't want to start in elementary school at the same time as New York City Reads because it takes a lot to learn a new curriculum, understand the science of reading, develop those skills, pedagogy, and feel confident. Teachers would have had a really hard time doing all of that in NYC Reads and taking on new math content, new math pedagogy at the same time. We didn't want to have a cognitive overload for teachers. So we said, well, let's think about where we could start if we're not starting in elementary school. And high school seemed to be the right place because Algebra 1 is really the gatekeeper to higher level math courses and to post NYCPS success. We also knew that in our high schools, that was the place where our teachers were using the most fragmented, as you might say, curriculum. Some teachers were using homegrown curriculum. Some teachers were using a curriculum that they pieced together. Others were just using their expertise. And we really wanted to bring together this high quality instruction and instructional material. We started in high school with 11 districts, 260 schools. We then moved on to add in 10 additional districts in community school districts, so middle schools. That was an additional 257 schools. We were then supporting Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Geometry, and grade 6 to 8. Most recently, we added in 6 additional districts into middle school, adding 90 more schools, and those schools were just serving grades 6 to 8. And our hope is that as we move through the years, we add in more districts, more grades, and more content. In terms of professional learning, we provide tons of professional learning, not just for teachers, but for school leaders, our district, and our job embedded support providers. So our teachers are getting anywhere between 4 and 7 full days of professional learning where they are being pulled out of schools, they learn content, they learn how their grade level content connects to previous grade levels as well as grade levels after them. They also have opportunities to work collaboratively with teachers across their district. This is one of the most powerful pieces we've heard that teachers really, really enjoy. For so long, you could be a teacher in a small school and be the only teacher teaching math and feel like I have no one else to plan with, no one else to talk to. Our collaborative communities of practice gives teachers time to engage with other teachers in neighboring schools in their districts to talk about math, to think together, to have a planning partner. Teachers also are getting anywhere between 6 to 12 days of job embedded support. That is push and support that comes from external vendors where coaches go into schools and they are planning with teachers, they're unpacking units with teachers, they're modeling best practices, they are teaching side by side and coaching. And those job embedded support providers, although they are external partners, all attend communities of practice with the NYC Solves math team to make sure that there is coherence and consistency across the system in terms of the content that they're delivering, the content that they're sharing, and the pedagogical decisions and moves that they're making. District teams are coming to communities of practice with those job embedded support providers to make sure that the district team can continue to support when those providers are no longer around. This is how we build sustainability and capacity over time. School leaders are also getting sessions that are delivered through the NYC Solves team as well as the districts to really make sure that they can be the instructional leader pushing this work at schools. We're looking and monitoring for continuous improvement. This is a system-wide data collection, and we collect data in a few different ways. Obviously, the one that's like forefront of our minds is we look at state test data, right? To tell us like, what are the scores saying? Is it working? Is it not? But that's only one piece of the data puzzle that we look at. We have implementation checks. We are district instructional leads, go into schools, into math classrooms twice a year to think about what does math instruction look like in those schools. We have an implementation check tool that is really aligned to our math shifts to think about where the math shifts are living in schools. We have our job embedded support log. So all of those external vendors that we send into schools, we collect information on what they're doing in those schools, how many times they're in the school, who are they working with, what types of supports are they providing. We have our surveys. So we have 2 times a year an educator survey and a school leader survey that tells us about the support we're giving and what schools and leaders need more or less of. We also have our New York City School Survey, which we collect and look at data as well. And then we have continuous feedback loops where we are hosting teacher focus groups, collaborating with union partners, working with superintendent, teachers, and leaders. We also have had some parent feedback when we're joining CECs and we're thinking about like what math instruction looks like and how we can continue to support parents in this work. So some early indicators of success is District 11. District 11 is a community school district in the Bronx. Christine Vaughn, Superintendent Vaughn, is the leading instructional leader in that district. She and her team really have some great systems and structures in place. They have not only adopted a new curriculum, they've been using IM now for a few years. But that's not why their scores are going up. Because like we said before, it's not just about the curriculum or the material. That's the one piece, right? They also have done a lot of work on shifting pedagogy in their district to think about what are the practices that teachers are using and what's happening in math classrooms. They've also done a lot of work in thinking about the amount of time students are engaging with math across a day. Superintendent Vaughn and her school leaders have 10 periods of math for all of their students. So it really gives them a lot of time to dig in, roll up their sleeves, and think about math instruction. They also provide additional math periods for students who may need it as a way to close the gap. We see here that Superintendent Vaughn and her team, their work has really led to some really great jumps. In grade 3, we see a 24.9% increase, right? In grade 8, we see a 31-point increase. And some of the things that I like to look at is those most vulnerable populations, students with disabilities and English language learners. We are also seeing gains in those areas. And so I'm excited to continue to follow Superintendent Vaughn's story. But this is not the only district that has shown gains. There are several other districts. This was just a public blog that we pulled and we thought might be interesting to share here. So that is the end of my presentation today. Happy to answer any questions or engage in a conversation about what math looks like or should look like in your districts.
Sorry, trying to unmute. Thank you so much. That was so informative. And math is really tough for a lot of people. And, you know, I just want to make sure that it's clear that everyone is working on helping with the shifts, the changes that need to be made. I see that there's hands up already, so I'll go to those questions first then. Vandana, you have a question?
Hi, I have a question. How are you, everybody? I have a question. Equity is expensive if the students who need the most help are in the largest classes with the least experienced teacher, then the policy is failing. So my question is, how are our most experienced math teachers distributed? Are you funding and staffing levels weighted towards the classroom with the highest needs? Thank you.
My office deals with content. I can't speak with any certainty around teacher placement and teacher hiring, but I can say that as a former principal, one of the things that I used to look at is teacher experience, not just in a specific grade, but their experience with like content and the knowledge. And we do acknowledge as an NYC Solves team that there are varying levels of teacher knowledge-based comfortability with mathematics, which is why we have so much professional learning, where we're not just focusing on gathering teachers together, but we really are focusing on building the content knowledge so that teachers, all teachers, whether they're new or whether they've been teaching for a number of years, feel comfortable and confident so that no matter which classroom your students are in, they're getting similar experiences, high quality experiences.
Thank you.
Thank you. Letitia?
Hi, good morning. I wanted to ask questions around, so when we rolled out New York City Reads, there were three curriculum that could be selected. And I don't think I heard that the curriculum itself was presented to be selected from. Like, so do we have any particular curriculum that they could pick from, or are we just expecting the adherence to the New York City Solves standard?
Yeah, so there are three curricular options. These curricular options were vetted by a team of teachers and administrators through a very rigorous process. And one of the things that the committee made sure is that the three curricular align to our New York City shifts in mathematics. And those three curriculum options are illustrative mathematics, iReady Mathematics Classroom, and Amplified Desmos Mathematics. And from the districts that I see here, some of you are already engaging in NYC Solves, and some of you are using some of those programs. So the districts that aren't, your superintendent will work with your community, teachers, school leaders, and parents to think about which curricular option is the best for you.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
I'm sorry, may I be recognized? I just put mine in the chat.
Oh, sure, Caroline, go ahead.
Breeze about it. But if you want, I can just read it out loud.
Go ahead, go ahead.
So thank you, Ms. Williams, for that very in-depth. I know there's more to it, but that was really good. I just want to know how New York City Solves, how is it addressing differentiated instruction for students with IEPs, multilingual learners, and like students that are unfortunately right below the grade level?
Yeah, so as you can see from our data, almost 50% of our students are not proficient, right? And so yes, we're looking at our special populations like students with disabilities and multilingual learners, but this is a bigger problem than just like some of our small subgroups. We have seen that with using a high quality curriculum, our students with disabilities and multilingual learners can succeed. Some of the reasons for that, I believe, is because the tasks that are available, previously you would see in classrooms, maybe 3 different groups, right? You're the low group, I'm going to give you this work. You're the medium group, I'm going to give you this. And you're the high group, I'm going to give you this. What that did was cause some students to have a really wonderful math mindset. But those students who are always being put in that low group, right, develop this mentality of like, I can't do this, math is not for me. And so what we're doing is we're saying that all students are going to engage in the same task, so the same activity, but the activity is going to allow for students who may not know their multiplication facts to draw a picture, use tallies, use manipulatives, while those kids who do know their multiplication facts can go straight to that algorithm, but the activities are open enough that all students should have access. And for those students who still need additional support, right, there are those specially designed instructional tools and materials that come from the special educator to help. These programs also build in math language routines, which really help our English language learners to engage in the math and math content. So you don't learn math by you learn math by talking about it, right? And the math language routines are a great place to start. So we are really taking a deep dive and a fine tooth and a fine eye on how we're supporting not just the learners who we think can do it or who people think, but all of our learners. We want to make sure that every single student in New York City Public School gets access to grade level content, can engage in grade level content, and ultimately becomes proficient in mathematics.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay, thank you, Nicole, for being here for this wonderful presentation, for this informative and engaging presentation. And we hope to have you back soon.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure being here this morning.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to Jeopardy. We have 8 minutes before the chancellor gets here, so we might have to just pause on Jeopardy and come back to it. So, Becca, are you ready?
All right, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay.
All right, so same way it worked last month and the month before. We'll start with the first question, and then after that, you use your hand, you raise your hand. The first person whose hand's raised will get to answer the question. If they answer the question correctly, they get to pick the next topic, but not answer the next question. So we'll just go in that order so everyone has a chance. So Becca, you want to just pick the first question? And all of our DOE friends that are here, NYCPS friends that are here today, you can also play along.
All right, so we'll start with Respect for All for 100.
Okay.
So theme-based lessons and activities during Respect for All week.
Anyone? You could pick any of them that are, that a school can do. Caroline.
What is No One Eats Alone?
Okay.
Here they all are. Yep, No One Eats Alone is the last one. We got Celebrating Kindness, Be an Ally Day, Anti-Bullying, Cyberbullying Day, Respect for Diversity, Disability, Religious Acceptance, and/or Racial Diversity Day, Gender Identity, Sexual Orientation, and/or LGBTQ Pride and Acceptance Day, and as you mentioned before, No One Eats Alone. All right.
So Caroline, you get to pick the next question. The next category.
Can I have nominations and elections for 200, please?
Okay, this is a written notice of election meeting must be sent to all members of the President's Council at least blank calendar days prior to the election.
Tanya.
10.
Say, I didn't hear you.
You said 10.
Okay, yep. Okay,
All
pick the
right.
category.
I will choose nominations and elections for 400.
Okay.
Okay, President's Council elections should be held by blank and must be held no later than blank.
No one? Tanya.
Here we go.
No later than June 15th.
Not quite.
And well, June 15th is the last part of it, and then April 1st.
No.
President's Council, not PTAs.
Oh.
Anyone else want to give it a shot? Caroline?
I'm terrified. Should it be held by May and must be held no later than June 30th?
No, you're kind of right, but no. Anyone else? Okay, so should be held by June 30th and no later than September 30th.
We're trying to get away from September.
Yes, we are. We are trying to have
exactly
PAPTA
by May, so President's Councils can be done by June. Okay. Becca, pick the next category.
We'll go with acronyms for 100. OPT.
Come on, guys. Melissa.
Office of Public Transportation.
Office of
Public Transportation.
Transportation Department.
Close.
The closest is 12.5. My mom's Alexa's going off now. Sorry. Alexa, stop.
Christina, did you just cheat? I just saw Dr. Cristina Melendez and
I heard it. I heard it.
cheating. Okay, it's pupil. It's Office of Pupil Transportation. Okay, pick the next category.
All right, then there. Like, why is it not going? Okay. All right. Well, let's try who's who in New York City Public Schools. 100. Picture.
So does anyone know who this person is? Anthony. Oh, oh, you beat Rima. Okay, go ahead, Anthony. Oh, you muted.
Superintendent McCoy.
Yes, it is. District 75 Superintendent Dr. Keisha McCoy. Okay, Anthony, you choose the next category.
Nomination and elections 500.
The President's Council must notify the appropriate superintendent of the date and time of their election by
Anyone? When do president's councils have to notify? Melissa.
Isn't it April 1st?
That's PTA, President's Council. Caroline.
I'm gonna just go on a limb here. I'm gonna say May 15th. No.
We're gonna read the regs. Oh, pleading the fifth in the chat. Tanya.
I'm gonna say
Come on, Tanya.
June.
June what?
I'm gonna say the 15th.
So close. So close. All right, for the sake of time, it's June 1st. All right, next category.
we'll do nomination elections again for 300.
Okay.
So true or false? Constituent PA, PTA presidents or co-presidents who have been elected to serve for the following school year and designees who have been approved by a vote of the general membership are eligible to run for office.
Tanya.
True.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I do see our chancellor is here, so I'm going to pause the game for now. We will go to Chancellor Samuels and then we'll return to the game.
To play Jeopardy too. Like, why do I not get a Jeopardy shot? I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
You want to listen? You want to play? We could play.
It's all good.
So welcome, Chancellor. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
On
To it.
a different note, I just wanted to sincerely
Take care of business over there, please.
Oh, Mark, I'm going to mute you. Sorry. I hate to do that.
Take care of business over there.
Okay. I just wanted to sincerely thank you for visiting one of our schools in District 21 last week during such a heartbreaking time following the tragic loss of a student who was fatally struck by a bus. Your presence, I'm sorry, I'm trying to let people in. Your presence meant more than words could express. During moments of profound grief, seeing the support of you, your team, the entire New York City Public Schools family brought comfort and strength to our school community, and your compassion and leadership helped our students, staff, and families feel supported and not alone, and we are deeply grateful for your care and your solidarity.
Yeah, well, thank you for saying that. And yeah, it was, I mean, it's just unspeakable tragedy. And to, you know, it's for everyone. And I'll say, I spoke to a translator, to the mom a little bit, and yeah, that situation is gonna stay with me. That was an unspeakable tragedy, even for the bus driver involved, right, who didn't know that it happened, and so from what I've heard, so that is, yeah, and unfortunately, in a different kind of loss, we lost another student last night. Obviously, a different set of circumstances, including gun violence, and we send our prayers and condolences to that family and that school community as well, and have already been in touch with the school and have a presence there. But just this is the part of the job that has in a month and a week, couple of weeks in, that's the hardest part. When I was a principal, I remember walking into a building for the very first time and it dawning on me that, oh, one of my 500 kids could actually not be here at some point. And I prayed every day that that never happened, and it didn't. And so when it does, I really make sure I connect with the principals, because I do know what that is, and I make sure as much as possible I connect with the school community. So yeah, that's certainly been the surprisingly hardest part of this job. I didn't think about it prior to coming into this role. And with that said, today with that heaviness, I entered into two school spaces where just unbelievable things are happening for young people in our school system. I had the pleasure of going to the Queens Innovation Center that houses the Northwell School, and that is just an unbelievable space. And also followed up with visiting Aviation High School as well, which is another just, if I just think about what my own outcomes would be, I feel like, the chancellor is limiting. I could have been a lot more, regarding these spaces that our kids have and have access to. And yeah, there's some tremendous work happening in the New York City public schools, and I want to be a vehicle for amplifying that, despite what is also simultaneously like tremendous losses that we're experiencing.
This is terrible, and I hope that something's done. We always say that we shouldn't have to wait for a tragedy for something to be done, but we really do need crosswalks and lights and cameras and more crossing guards. That's very important.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of work on that, and those crossing walks for sure, crossing guards for sure um are a shortage area. Very they're often community based, and certainly as a superintendent, I tried to engage the local precincts on that, and so as much as we can, we'll continue to do that work.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, so are you ready to take some questions from our members that were submitted?
Yeah, let me first make sure a lot of my team is on, because yeah, they're here.
You have a great team. I'm telling you, they're all so responsive. We're doing some great things with FACE, with safety, with school foods, with everyone. They've just been really, we had an amazing presentation by Nicole Williams for New York City Solves.
Oh yes, Nicole is great. Yep.
So we did the math. The math is mathing.
All right, the math is mathing. Okay, that's good.
Mathing.
That's important.
Okay, so I'm gonna go into some questions. What actions are being taken to improve teacher training and curriculum for supporting students with dyslexia and to address bullying these students face?
Yeah, well, I'll start with just in general, we've done a lot of work as a system around bullying, our respect for our work, and how our teachers and guidance counselors and schools really address making our schools safe where with our um, work in schools. Bullying, I think, has from certainly from the work that I've seen, has really been on in some levels the decline, though when we have one case of bullying for that kid, the bullying is 100%. And when in terms of feeling safe in school, as you know, that is a huge priority for me. And I've been really working to ensure that our kids really learn and have tools to talk to each other, tools for peer mediation, tools for making sure that we're not getting to levels of bias that that will cause and make bullying worse. I don't know, Mark, if you want to add anything there before we get into the curriculum stuff and dyslexia.
Yes, thank you, Chancellor. And good morning, everyone. So, the question is, what are we doing about bullying? Just as a point of information, we made the reporting of bullying much easier for parents. You can literally report bullying right from your cell phone. In each one of the cases of bullying, there's an alert that the principal gets, and there's a certain number of days by which a principal must investigate in all cases of bullying and get back to the parent. And if, in fact, the bullying case is substantiated, there's a safety plan that's developed for young people. It would be remiss if we wouldn't highlight the fact that next week is Respect for All Week, right? And that is the work, right? Where we are teaching young people to be respectful to each other. Our schools remain to be spaces free of bullying, discrimination, harassment, and intimidation. And I respect for all liaisons who are receiving additional training to make sure that they are equipped to deal with all levels of hate for our young people, and they're readily available for our students. So please continue to uplift the fact that these bullying reporting mechanisms exist for parents, and they don't have to go into schools. They can actually report anonymously cases of bullying, right? And so, and we have this past September, we have unveiled our Kindness Over Bullying campaign, right? So it would be great for you guys to help us get the word out about that initiative as well. Help us get that initiative out there as well. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and so as you know, there's so much work that we're doing in transitioning, or in, I wouldn't say transitioning, in like our, deepening our New York City Reads work. And so when it comes to struggling readers, the screeners that we do, we have universal screeners that identify, early indicators of struggling readers. And so we're doing that work in the lower grades, and we have our MTSS work that's coming off of that is critical in thinking about making sure that our kids are exposed and receiving the right interventions at the right times, right? So I think that is the universal work that needs to happen when it comes to early indicators of this dyslexia. Dyslexia is specific. We are not, as a system, we don't identify dyslexia, but we do identify, the early indications. And I think, I was in a school yesterday that is working with the I Read program, which I think is really, really great because it gives kids so many more we say at bats, right? So many more opportunities to kind of see the words that to encounter and in their decoding strategies. So I think there's a lot of things that we're doing there, and I think I see the work our special ed team on. If you want to add something, I think is that you, Susan? I see. So
Absolutely,
you can
yes.
you can
Thank you.
follow up there.
Thank you so much, Chancellor, and exactly that, and then some. And we are, as Chancellor referenced, we are strengthening training to all teachers on the science of reading, so they're grounded and rooted in that foundational work. And excited to share, right, that in partnership with the Division of School Leadership and our colleagues, that we are strengthening the special education components of this work, particularly around working with our special education teachers, related service providers, school psychologists, and school leaders on interpreting screening and diagnostic data and ensuring that the evidence-based interventions that they are utilizing and the progress monitoring are all aligned in keeping with the MTSS work that DSL has really, been so expertly rolling out and keeping moving. One other point, just quickly, specifically around this also, is that the Division of Dial, we are also helping schools implement tools like Read and Write, which is assistive technology that provides real-time access to grade level curriculum for students who have challenges like dyslexia, print-based disabilities, or are struggling with grade level content. So this is front and center for both our divisions, for both work, and we're really grateful for the partnership to keep this work at the forefront of everything we're doing in New York City.
Thank you for that. Next question is, how will you address teacher and staff social emotional well-being to reduce burnout and improve retention?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I think it's super important, and I hope you next meeting you ask the question, how am I addressing chancellor burnout and chancellor turnover? But anyway, we'll save that one for later. I don't think anybody cares. But seriously, this is huge, right? Because we know that our kids are and young people are best served when their teachers appear in front of them every single day with in their best selves, right? And so when they don't, oftentimes you can really think about ways that not just ways that their personal and professional lives have become overwhelming. And I think, over time, we have partnerships with the UFT where we're thinking about how our teachers' socio-emotional needs are cared for. And I know in a lot of the principal training that we do, there is also that component of how are they thinking about their staff and their staff well-being. And so I know Mark also has other pieces that he's worked with on this in terms of counseling, and also our social workers and guidance counselors. They also they're the ones that are really confronting so much of our trauma on a daily basis. And so all of these folks need their own socio-emotional work. And so we do have partnerships around that. Mark, you can talk a little bit more detail, I'm sure.
Yeah, so we kicked off this year, just so as a point of information, a whole caring for the caregiver initiative, right? So that is the social workers that the chancellor just talked about, our school aides, paraprofessionals, teachers, and others, right? And so we have kicked off the trauma informed care initiative, of which it's a remote and in-person sessions that we provide for teachers and others. We've trained 12,000 staff members as well as 1,000 parents thus far. They found this work super meaningful. There are multiple sessions that they can attend. They found it meaningful work. They were extremely, and they are often extremely grateful that someone is thinking about their well-being, right? So their work continues. Outside of the work that we're doing with our external agency partners and our higher educational establishments, to bring in additional supports to not only support our students, but our staff as well, by way of our social work interns that we are bringing to lighten the load for our caregivers. That's some of the stuff that we're doing to help support our teachers and other educators and leaders in this space. So please feel free to reach out if you find that there are parents or there are other schools that may benefit from those existing supports. We'll be more than happy to extend the work.
Thank you. How will families and parent leaders be included in shaping policies related to student and staff well-being?
Yeah, this is definitely a hot topic on in terms of our thinking about the role of parents and families in um, decision making in the public school system. As you know, or as you may know, we kicked off our conversations with the Chancellor series, Our Schools, Our Future. And on Tuesday night, the first one in Staten Island. Second one is going to be February 24th in Manhattan. And I think these are opportunities, and these are the first opportunities to really think about creating pathways for families to not just connect with the system, but to be a part of the decision making. That is something that is critically important to me. I think that you are the representatives of so many of our parents. And when we're thinking about policies, it behooves us to get feedback from the ultimate users, not just the staff, but that includes the families. And of course, I was with a group of students yesterday where we talked about exactly this. How do we incorporate our young people who are the ultimate users of the system, and I say users because I am heavily steeped in the concept of user-centered design. So when we are designing policies, we should really keep the end user in mind, and so we will continue to create systems for our families to give us feedback prior to any major policy release. We are also going to be announcing soon, looking at some specific regulations that we're going to be looking at beginning a working group to really talk through, so that we can make some significant updates to these regulations. So it's going to be important that we hear from our parents, our families, and groups such as this in thinking about that.
Thank you so much. Okay, with the increase in aggressive student behavior and reports of inappropriate staff conduct, how will you ensure safety in school buildings and along school routes? And how will building leaders be held accountable when these issues are not properly addressed?
Yeah. Look, whenever we have incidents in our schools, the one thing that I'm super clear about, having been a principal and a superintendent and teacher in the system, is that we have very clear protocols. Our protocols are very clear, and it's our job, my job, to make sure that those protocols are followed. We can walk you through those protocols for specific incidents, and then we have really good follow-up and mechanisms for making sure that our staff and folks who come in contact with our kids are held accountable. I've been through a number of situations myself, and obviously on the accountability side, sometimes we're not able to publicly talk about that with what we're doing with staff, but in terms of the protocols around it, we're very clear. Mark, I don't know how much you want to share around the protocols and steps, but this is something that I think with the number of kids that are in our care, I think it's really important to make sure that folks know that we are training our principals on the responses that they need to take. Like every teacher gets mandated training around so many of these pieces, but I'll turn it over to you.
Absolutely. Listen, the schools are in the center of our communities, right? And so when you talk about the safe passage and the work that's done to keep kids safe as they transition to and from community responsibility. While the schools don't shun that responsibility, there is a point where the community has to support the school as we continue to keep young people safe. Chancellor alluded to an unfortunate incident that transpired not too far away from the school at a local outside of a local McDonald's, right? That's the relationships with local businesses, our partners in clergy, our parent partners, and our community-based organizations that help with the safe passage. As it relates to principals being held to standard, there are clear chancellor's regulations that we make sure that principals are updated on, right? And there's a annual training that takes place for not only our leaders but our school staff as well, that define and clearly outline expectations. Unfortunately, we're a very large system and we are dealing with human beings who do make mistakes. And there are reporting mechanisms in place to address anytime there is adult misconduct, right? And we don't shy away from that. And each and every time that we hear, we take those cases very, very seriously. But we continue to do the work of supporting our principals by having those monthly safety meetings that are required. We have a weekly meeting that's happening with our principals and our local precinct commanders so they can do the very thing that they did yesterday and have the support of local precincts outside if there are concerns around dismissal, as well as the borough safety directors who do a monthly task force meetings where they're doing reminders for assistant principals of safety and security, as well for our principals. So we are using various different venues to continue to remind everyone of their responsibility around safety and emotional well-being for our kids. Thank you.
Okay. I know, Veronica, I see your hand raised, but I just want to get to the questions that the members submitted first. And if there's time, we'll be able to ask your question. D28 school lost one of its 21st century after school grants, and the families haven't received clarity on plans for next year. So they're saying that as a Title I school, the lack of guidance is concerning, as many parents must plan for the logistics and cost of after school care. So when can they expect an update or a solution?
Can you say the specific school? And then I'll turn it over to Flavia if she has anything that she wants to add.
It's PS 220Q.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and happy to jump in, Chancellor, and good morning, everyone, and happy to be here, Randy, and other parent leaders and colleagues. So PS 28Q220 does has a 21st century grant that goes directly to a CVO. It's not a grant that's managed inside New York City Public School, and that grant has not expired. The 21st century grants that are currently in place are working all the way through June 2027. And I'm happy to put the link there so you guys can see the total award. While I do not manage from our community school that particular grant, Common Point is the organization that received the funding to support 3 different schools in the community. What I will say is that we absolutely share the common value of after school and the need to extend after school programming. Part of that has been the work that we are doing with DYCD, which supports the vast majority of after school programs within the system. So this past September, a total of 20,000 seats were added across the city. 5,000 were added through community centers because some of their programmings are in community centers near schools, and 15,000 were added in school communities. In addition to that, I'm going to share in the chat just some links so that through our parent leadership, we also can assist other parents who may be in need of after school by leveraging the DYCD Discovery Center and some of the other ways in which we can support families that are seeking after school programs. And I'm here available for any questions that you have in this area. And I also have engaged already the district leadership around this conversation just to make sure that we get to clarity or any other supports that those families may need, because the program is still active as the grant that the CBO currently receives.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
How will New York City Public Schools help parents guide their children in using AI responsibly at home and for homework?
Yeah, so this is a huge one. And you know, I see Dr. Pick getting ready to come off mute because she knows this is a big one. And you know, I had the pleasure of being at our last PEP and hearing actually the anxieties of some families, and also, you know, really experience the hope and and opportunities that I think are through hearing from our vendor and so on, that I think AI provides. AI provides both hope, not just hope as in we hope it's going to be a good tool, but hope for many kids who are many young people who actually will learn more efficiently when we administer some interventions long term maybe, but it's a hope that there are opportunities that it brings to making learning more efficient, but it's also something that brings so much anxiety, especially when it comes to privacy and especially when it comes to interaction with bots and so on, right? But we do have guidance that we've worked on that we're very close to releasing, and then we hope that that guidance in linking back to a question that was asked before about the role of families and parents in giving us feedback on policies. I think this is a very clear one. We've taken a whole bunch of feedback from all stakeholders, and we're going to continue to do that. Even in the first release of our guidance, there will be continued opportunities to give feedback before we actually get to what we're calling the AI playbook. But I know Mia is on, and Dr. Pate, if you can just address some of that, that would be great.
So the first thing I want to address is that this is an evolving process, and we are not aiming to produce a single document that becomes final. We are working to produce a document that can evolve as technology evolves and ensure that we create pathways for all of our stakeholders to input questions and to seek clarity along the way. The guidance that our chancellor is speaking about, it aims to establish a really strong framework for adopting emerging technologies in New York City public schools, starting with AI as a starting place. But it will also apply to all AI and AI powered tools that we commit to being used for educational purposes, and to ensure that we provide clear boundaries. We've incorporated a very clear approach so that families and stakeholders understand what is prohibited, what are the safeguards that are in place, and also what are some currently approved uses for AI empowered technology. And also, I would land and say that the greatest focus of our work is ensuring safety of students and to make sure that we have very, very clear boundaries, very clear guardrails, and making sure that we are clear about the things we are saying are prohibited and the things that we are saying can be utilized within the school environment, but recognize that as technology evolves, we're putting greater accountability on vendors who navigate through the IRMA process.
Thank you. And I just want to add, just, you know, you're not going to hear. I think from my perspective, we also need to begin to clearly articulate, which we will, the opportunities that we can use to leverage AI on behalf of especially our most vulnerable students, right? And so I think going into the upcoming, weeks and months, you're kind of hear clearer conversations from us around, how do we, knowing that AI is not going anywhere, knowing that certainly if you have an adolescent, they're probably somehow engaged in AI activities, and knowing how probably every one of us has on this call has used AI to do something more efficiently, knowing that we're really missing out on opportunities if we allow ourselves to be crippled by the fear of AI, right? And so I think some of that conversation needs to also be had, but we have to first establish clear guardrails and clear safety mechanisms for using AI. Thanks.
Of course. Chancellor, if you don't mind, there's a question in the chat. Rima, which is our executive board member, asking about BARD.
Okay, sorry, I haven't seen the chat. Can you just tell me what it
Rima,
says?
do you wanna ask?
And then I unfortunately I'm gonna have to hop off soon, but
Absolutely. I'll be super fast.
no
So
problem.
there's two issues with BARD. The first issue is that they're co-located with two other schools. Those two schools have been there for decades. We closed a school to make space for BARD, and now
Oh,
BARD is
sorry,
trying
Rima. So I think you mean Bard in the Bronx then, right?
BARD
The Bronx bar.
Bronx.
Okay, got it. Okay, great.
Yeah, so
That's fine.
BART
Okay.
Bronx, they're in a building where we gave them space, and now they're trying to expand into the other spaces. And particularly, there's a parent room that the parent coordinators in the building share, where they conduct. It's like a like family welcome center, but it's also an office. And they conduct the parent trainings and the breakfast and like all of the engagement. And the three schools partner with each other, which is amazing because most don't. It's like they get attendance in high school. And BART is trying to take the space. We had a student in there with crutches on an accommodation, and they like moved everything over to have a staff meeting in an office that is not theirs. So I'm wondering if you're in support of and can support us with, parent spaces and having parents feel welcome in buildings. We created an initiative. There was a grand opening. The chancellor went there previously and everything for this space to be what it is. And now they're trying to take it and they're trying to make departmental offices. We're not a college. And to that point, they have a strange process for students with IEPs. So when you apply to the school, you have to take a test. If you look at the test, there's a Google form, and there's a whole different day for students with disabilities, like a whole different testing day, which
Okay.
is already segregation. And then there's a separate thing in there for accommodations, and it's capped. You can only have like 120 kids test for the Bronx every year that have a disability. So I'm
Got it.
confused
So
about like the equity and the legalities behind that. If you could please help, I would really appreciate it.
great. Thank you for the questions. So number one, the first one sounds like an issue for a building council, and so let's Isabel, let's connect on that afterwards. I think it's important. So we can I don't know if you've heard of the issue, Isabel. I didn't, but
I have not. I did respond
okay.
in the chat. I'm going to have the team take a look at it. Building Council works with
Okay, perfect.
plan and space planning.
Okay.
And I will work with DPC to take a look at the space issues at the
Awesome. And then and the other issue, I think we can, in terms of the admissions process for BARD, we can follow up, and I think our dial folks are on the phone, since it's a special ed concern. We can follow up on that, Rima, and on both of the issues, just to kind of make sure that we're meeting our desire to make sure that we have access for our students with disabilities, and then also that they're working collaboratively on the ground regarding building council. All right. All right, thank you so much, guys. This is always a pleasure to be in community with you all and try to answer some questions. I'm gonna, hopefully you'll catch up with me on the 24th or the ones after. But this is our school, it's our future. So come have some conversations with the chancellor. We'll talk soon.
Thank you so much, Chancellor Samuel. Okay. Next up, we have our acting deputy chancellor for operations, Kevin Moran, to give us a update on transportation modernization.
Hello, Randy. You hear me okay?
I hear you.
Oh yeah, I'm actually from the custodian's office at Aviation High School. So hopefully
nice.
my camera and mic are holding up.
Maybe
So
the
yeah,
custodians get upgrades on their cameras and their, computers.
it's noted. We'll make sure of it. Thank you, Randy and team, the entire CPAC, for all that you do on a daily basis, sharing with us concerns, parent feedback experiences, student feedback experiences. It's invaluable. So for those who have my email, my cell, please continue to share that in real time. It shapes both our understanding of the organization, the experiences of our students and families. And as a parent of 3 students who went through the public school system, I appreciate the relative experience in individual experience more than you know. So always send to me your experience, your lived experience. It's growth points and opportunities for us. So basically today we wanted to give a little bit of update about what we're doing in the transportation space, acknowledging the complexities that exist, a wide-ranging set of experiences on the daily basis, and what are the things we're hearing and what are the efforts we'd like to share that are underway. Ultimately, this PowerPoint presentation is yours to have. Share far and wide. If you want us to get engaged in further conversations with family and community at school level, we can do that as well. So broadly, we talk about some of the successes, the things we're working on. Currently, one of the bigger things is we're moving forward in a space that we're happy with around our GPS system, getting better and refining what, one, it does, and 2, how many people can access it. And we want to make sure at the ground level with you all, parents are using the New York City Schools account to access the New York City School Bus app. A lot of reasons for that. And so we're happy that this GPS system is there. It's going to give the transparency that we need. And the drivers have been great partners. When I was a classroom teacher back in '98, my students would have a trip card. I'd walk out and all my students as a self-contained teacher relied on yellow school bus service, but that automation didn't exist. And now it does. And so we're real excited about what that transparency is going to bring to us. Also talking about where our oversight is. I think a lot of you, I won't name you as individuals because I don't want you to feel if you share it with me, I'll share it publicly. But we're real strong on making sure our data is public, and that is shaping what we're doing every day. And the call center data is posted now on a regular basis, and the individual who reminds me of that often knows who she is, and so thank you. The vendor oversight is something where we're pushing. We heard loudly from the PEP and others about our contract space and the need to do better. And over time, we've kind of looked at the spaces we haven't been holding vendors accountable where we had opportunities to do so. And so we're trying to, one, set a better set of expectations across the vendor management system, but also make it clear to the public where we are doing that work. So we're working closely across, our partners, something with special education, enrollment, and others. That's important. We do that daily. And so that is where we like to continue growing. Challenge, obviously, we want to make sure we're fully staffed at all times. So recruitment and retention matters, training, accreditation matters to our organization. And we're focused on making sure we recruit and retain best we can. As it relates to the fleet, we look at the best we can provide each and every day to our students and families. And in this space, we look at our vintage and the years and the miles on vehicles and also coupling that with the availability of electric buses. So there's a fine balance on now as we try to lower our fleet age, but also bring about the new technology with electric school buses. Yeah, and essentially how we're actually being responsive to students is where we are now. This slide. We cover a lot of ground. These maps just basically talk about how far and wide we go. A lot of what we're doing is trying to, and this is great work I'm doing with, and our team broadly is doing with Deputy Chancellor Foti, is looking at distance and time travel. It's super important for us to focus more closely, but this is kind of where we are. And so as we advance, these are the individuals, this is where we are. These are the routes that we have. We look at, nearly 6,000, kind of IEP driven routes. And then you have, 2,100 kind of stop to school routes. So it's large populations of students that we're serving, but got to get better each and every day across our pre-K units including. So everybody knows how we get to school. Yellow busing is a real big deal for us, making sure we're faster in the foster care environment, make sure we're faster in temporary housing. These are other opportunities for us to talk to other agencies. Where can we meet ACS in this process? Where can we meet DHS in this process? What can we do better at the local level, at the ground level? More noticeably, the past couple of weeks, I think a lot of people came to question how many kids actually ride the ferry system for us. Nearly 1,000 kids used the fast ferry system that locked up when the harbor started freezing. So, students were able to go back with the Omni card, taking the buses, taking the trains. So we found the Omni to be a really phenomenal program. And similar advocates have talked about, look, making this an equity issue more broadly. And I think it aligns to some of our goals. It's making sure everyone has access to this, because these opportunities, the 4 trips, the 4 transfers, 7 days a week, that should not be exclusive to one subset of students. So, looking at that equity issue, we've been hearing you on that front, make sure it's top of mind. We're getting better at rideshare reimbursement, making sure that if anyone has to get on a rideshare type service, it's prepaid, it's set up, there's no glitches in the system, and also making sure that if a parent does a layout for transportation, they make sure they get reimbursed in a timely fashion. As we move forward, this is what I'm talking about with each of you. I value you more than you know. We're not out here defending the service. We know we have to grow. We have to get better. We have to have shorter, more predictable routes. This is the number one thing that I'm working on. I have routes. We have routes collectively that travel in excess of 30 miles, 40 miles. When you look at the length of Manhattan, it's 13 miles. Some of our routes go basically from the northern tip of Manhattan to the southern tip and back in one trip to school. We must do better, and we hope that some of the predictable data sets that we share can help us move there. Loud and clear. Go back a slide. Loud and clear. We got to make sure we're going and looking at where we're not meeting our families. And so what does the evening look like? What does weekends look like? Making sure they arrive in a comfortable environment. We heard very clearly, and it's something I've been working on as hard as I can behind the scenes around comfort and safety while experiencing our service. So looking at air conditioning, folks have been sharing, like, look, this is the time to focus on that now. The transparency and accountability is probably the best thing for each of us. It's best thing for the family, best thing for the student, best thing for the vendor. And so that's where this all starts, public accountability. And with that, what we put in the contract this go around is that companies show up at our town halls, meet your consumer, meet our family, share the experience, and be more accessible in that space as well. So those are some of the things we're hearing. That's not a exhaustive list, but it covers a lot of what we're focused on now, and it stretches into other areas. So how we support families, we definitely have our help desk, the call center. Know that that's not the be all end all. It's gotten much, much better from 2018. When I had started in supporting this area, at that one time, I was the one transportation person for the chancellor at the time. And we looked at September of 2018 to having 150,000 complaints in the month of September. So as we look back at 23 and 24, as the comptroller noted in his report, to which I thank him and his team at the time for their thorough assessment and the recommendations, to which we agree with all. To make it better, we look back at the data and we said, well, look, in 23, 24, we had 150,000-ish for the year. So there's some growth points there, some things working where how we reach out to transportation coordinators at the school level, our transportation liaisons in the borough centers, and our central Office of Pupil Transportation team, and how we actually connect and do data analysis around said complaints and resolutions and how we get there faster. So we have done a lot of upgrading. We have a chat bot now that has there. We want to do more. I think the last round of feedback parents shared with me was that in the app, why don't we have the ability to hit contact us from the app? It will be tied directly to student family experience. That is super. Again, that is not something we had on our original rollout, but it's something we're looking to put in place now. So if we can get, we talked a little bit about, again, feedback from the field, a mutual call center, a unified call center that you don't have to call bus company versus calling the OPT versus using the Rika chatbot, or can we get everything linked in on one place? So that is feedback you're sharing, and we thank you for that. So families know that we're here for you. Keep sending. So accountability, we want to make sure we're getting back within 24 to 48 hours. This is where we want to make sure we're having meetings such like this, meeting schools, meeting families, larger groups, CPAC, CCSE, the high school federation, everyone just trying to be accountable. And so right now, the biggest thing I think we'd say this year is we're looking at a vendor accountability tool. I have started sharing it. The team has started sharing it. I want to have report card grades, letter grades, just talking about accountability. Know that the last contract cycle, we did have the ability to put all of our 52 contractors into corrective action. That remains, we can still do that. And that is a great tool with our partners at the Division of Contracts and Purchasing and our legal team to make sure that folks know that if there are problems, we're going to address them. We also have the ability with half of our vendors to have a 1 year of cancellation of convenience if they're not performing. And so, or we could also not choose to renew a subset of vendors in the next cycle. Should we have a rebid or we're in an extension environment. But, no, that starts with data. That starts with showing people where they are on the regular basis of performance. How am I on time? How am I on recruitment and retention? How am I on fleet age? How am I on accident breakdowns? All of the things we want to hold valuable, and they're largely based upon feedback. But the number one thing is like the better service, right? On time, reliable, safe service. So we'll see that coming out very soon. That we couldn't be more excited about that. And thank you for pushing. This is long overdue. So next slide. This is what this is the thing that we started. The caregiver app wraps up. Its completion is very soon. We're getting high subscription rate, and largely brought upon the relationships we see at the curb and at the bus stop where there's an engagement. I want to thank our school bus drivers and attendants, the work they do every day for our kids. They are phenomenal in what they do. And for you to have that relationship where you know where they are, and the driver knows that to log in, there's a full suite of technology upgrades. But we went from 0%, obviously, before this program to nearly above 9 out of 10 logging in, doing the thing. And why is this important? It's gonna downhill feed everything that we're doing. So it's just not knowing where the bus is. So on the next slide, who's taking advantage of it? It's a lot. All right. So we've got a lot of logins, nearly 1 million since September. We're growing fast. Please continue to spread the word. I want everyone to use the system. We're actually using our ratings and evaluating how well we're doing. So if I can get this to the place where it catches your feedback in real time, I think that'll be the most impactful measure. Because in the moment, you could say, I'm out here, it's cold, the bus is late, the bus broke down, or my driver, or whatever the concern, we want to capture it at the individual user level. Next slide. So ridership tracking, this one's a fun one. We got about 30 schools right now that are badging on our school buses, that are badging off the school buses. So what that means for us now is that I can tell real-time traveled. It's not right now mandatory by any means. We want to make sure we're rolling it out and testing the technology, making sure that it's working. We want to build culture at the school level, just like a driver logging on. We know kids now, whether it's a lanyard for some individuals, whether it's in their on a sleeve or in their book bag. How do we log in? Are attendants helping? This is be more of an educational environment for independent travel training. This is meant to mimic how students experience the Omni system. So as we talk about least restrictive environments in busing, we don't want to start in the most restrictive environment at age 4 in pre-K and stay in that to age 22. So we want to make sure that people know how to experience now, we think a great opportunity, the Omni system. So these are tracking individually. We're really excited about schools having the ability to do this. So Now, these are now 8 routes. We're already up to 30. This is, by the way, if you tell me of a school, any of you, and say, look, Kevin, I want this school to jump right in on this pilot. This happens to me often where there's an issue with a kid not getting on, not getting off, where we say, well, look, we have this tool. If you engage in this pilot with us, you tell us how it's working. We'd like to see this rolled out wholesale. And by rollout, I mean available to everyone. Again, I don't want to make everyone feel that this is, 60 kids on one bus. Everybody's going to badge on if they don't choose to. We want to get there, but at first we want to make sure that families know it's an option. So these are companies and this is the boroughs, but it's already up to 30. The next exciting thing is going to bring us to, this is the everything for us. When I had taken over in 2018, we had an aging system. It was 39 different legacy computer systems, typically not maintained and upgraded in the fashion they could. I had many issues that I had to escalate for investigations around PII, many issues to Cyber Command about where we kept our data and where we kept our information and how our information shared actually worked in a coherent manner. So it was a couple of years worth of modernization. It got us to this place. We've been doing some testing on this is not AI based. This is an algorithm, but they're an international firm that we had chosen via for schools as undergirds our effort here. And they did some predictable analysis. They're doing it again. We actually see some real good signs here that we're going to reduce travel time, 12%, get there to school on time. This is a big one. Another individual I speak a lot about, schools getting there too soon and kids sitting in buses, and it's not fair. And I agree. That one hurts that we're not bringing kids in, and we're going to work on that if we get there early. But it's about getting there on time. And then, we see 25% reduction in those set arrival times coming early. So it's not about being there at 7:05 when school starts at 7:30. So there's work there too. On the next slide, I just wanted to end with the routing is meant to be being pressure tested in Brooklyn now, hopefully by the end of next month. I will say this, by fall of this upcoming school year, our routing algorithm will be out across the city of New York. All 8,000 plus buses will be dynamically routed. This will improve many, many things for the driver, many, many things for the family. One, it'll give us more predictability. 2, it'll give us greater visibility. 3, it'll give us greater accountability. And what it allows us to do is ultimately understand where our savings are. Do we have sites that have 3 schools but are not sharing routes? Do we find efficiencies in neighborhoods and make suggestions around what companies and what item in the way we contract? So it's going to inform a lot, but the routing we're going to do in Brooklyn and in a partnership with Nice Bus, the New York City school bus umbrella services, will make sure that we focus with them about how this works and so that we're ready for a September rollout. So we do see efficiencies. We can't name the number yet, but it's pretty significant. We think we could reduce some overhead here and some savings while shortening the route and shortening experience for our students and drivers alike. We're trying to make some more deliberate decisions around route creation that we could stand behind with a set of business rules. So I'd say pay attention this spring. We're going to do more and more. If you want more in the way of ridership tracking, happy to partner. Certainly when the routing gets ready to kick over, we'll be excited to share that. And then as we move on any of these enhancements, we'll be sharing, but they are all born out of your feedback. And to the extent I could bring back more exciting news, Randy, to you and to CPAC broadly, I would love that opportunity. I think the more you hear from us and what we're doing, when that vendor scorecard goes out, you can say, hey, how's my company doing? And what's the performance like? This will inform our next steps. Certainly we have our legislative priorities up in Albany, and appreciate your support in that way. We want to look at route efficiency and then how much return on investment you get for routes. What are the price categories and what are the services provided? So holistically, we have a better understanding shared publicly here and beyond to make sure that folks know where we are on accountability and where we are on improvements, the improvements that Chancellor and I have spoken very clearly about what we need to do here, and we are very focused on making it better for our students and families. So Randy, thank you for the time. I'm actually here for questions, or if you want to tag with me offline. I'll send you my contact information. And if they're certainly rider or family specific, you don't want to share them here. I respect that privacy. You just text me. I have one now, but I don't want to be too distracted. But yeah, send them to me, and I'm always here to help. And our team at OPT, Glenn Risbrook, John Benson, Lanika Parker Moore, the whole group is lining up every morning and evening to make sure our kids got what they need. So leave it to you.
Thank you, as always, Kevin. You're always, available to us, approachable, respectful to parent leaders and to families. So we appreciate you so much. Priscilla, you have your hand raised for a question?
I do. Thank you, Randy. And good almost afternoon, Kevin. So my question is surrounding communication with regard to the vendor and OPT. I have an example. I've been dealing with a busing nightmare in District 29 this week, but our district bus coordinator is amazing. So the trackers don't always work. They're frozen. Who is responsible for reporting that information so that parents can know where their children are? That's one question.
I'll answer the first one. You could send it to me. I'm going to drop my thing in the chat. My team knows we work pretty fast on the ground. We'll work downhill. But ultimately, the company and driver need to log in. But I'll make sure we're hovering at 94%. So there are people that are not doing what they need to do. And I want to troubleshoot that because I learn in that space too.
Okay. And number two, the constant struggle of the doubling up of the buses. Some of our schools have 12 children on one bus from one school and probably 12 from another shared campus. So that is, during state testing season can be challenging. This is a critical time for timely arrival. So that continues to plague. I know there's a shortage of drivers, but that space needs a little more improvement. But you guys done a tremendous job. I will give you credit. Tremendous strides. So but still needs a little work.
Thank you. I had that report in my hand. Glenn had shared that last week. We've talked to the companies about that very issue and said this is not acceptable. We got to get better, and where we need to recruit, we're doing that work, and then work quickly where there's vendors that actually have additional capacity, and there are some. So we got to make sure we move faster, and I'll have a conversation with Glenn on that as soon as this call ends.
Thank you. For the interest of time, I'll message you everything else, but thank you again for everything.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Vanzen, I know you have your hand raised, but it's executive board members that get to ask the question. So I'm going to go with Rima and then to you.
Hi, good morning. I appreciate you not calling me out. I'll call myself out though. Thank you. So TPS status, the temporary protected status expired for Haitian individuals, and we have a huge portion of our staff, whether that's our matrons or our drivers or other, that are of Haitian background. And so I'm wondering, what have we done as an agency to protect our workers and to provide guidance to the bus staff where possible, where necessary, right? Because they're on buses with kids at times where they are not at the base, don't have access like to a union rep or something. So what are we doing? A, to like just protect the people that we have, but B, to ensure that like we're advocating for them to retain their TPS status so that we don't see a further shift in staff shortages. Like we're already at a breaking point with staff shortages.
Yeah.
Can
Absolutely. Great point. Something we could do today with Glenn, making sure the Know Your Rights information is shared, making sure we're protecting our employees, giving guidance and support where we can. And I'll get an email out today. I don't know if Glenn is on with us today or Eden, that we get the communication out before close of business. Rima, thank you for sharing. That hasn't landed on our desk yet as an issue of staffing yet, but this is a great time to make sure we double check what the companies are doing and what information we're providing. So we'll make sure we get that out ASAP.
Thank you. Vandana?
Hello, everyone. Hello. The Chancellor has mandated new NYC solves for District 4, which requires students to be in their seats for complex problem solving at 8 a.m. But the current operational data shows East Harlem buses are averaging 40 minutes delays. When a bus is late, you aren't just failing now, you are effectively canceling that child's math education for the day. Will you commit to a first period priority routing for East Harlem where every bus serving NYC Salt School is tracked with 100% GPS compliance? Or should we tell our parents that mathematics for all doesn't apply to children who rely on your buses? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Bus needs to be there on time. Reads and solves need to be supported through all our operational units, and school busing is one of those. And so I'll have the team pull District 4, and we'll work with all the companies. I look at the on-time arrivals every day. I want to see the schools in particular. I will share back with you, Randy, if you could just make sure I have everybody's information afterwards. I want to make sure I get back specifically, and I'll work with Superintendent De La Cruz to get school experience and see if there's some things that we're missing on schedules and session time that we have this lateness issue. It's not acceptable, and we'll address it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Veronica, you're going to be our last question. Veronica.
Thank you so much. Hi. My question was basically for Mark, and there's another one for about meals. I was wanting to know if Mark have an update on agents, because there are buildings that have 2 schools and only have 1 agent, and sometimes the agents are late. Then they have after school and a lot of activities in the building with just 1 agent. So I was wanting to know what is the guidance on that moving forward. Also, kids are complaining they will take a tray at lunch and then need a second tray, and they were told that they could not get a second tray. So I was wondering what can we do, or how can we move forward with that? Thank you.
So that's a big focus for us. We love the cafeteria enhancement program. We love the work that it's doing and the nutritional options for kids. I'd like to know the school, Veronica. I'll assure you that that's not something we're looking at active enforcement. I think students, look, students should never be hungry at any point, period.
So one of the school is PS 181 and many others.
Oh, 181. I know the school very well. Chris Tricarico Chris is on the call. We'll make sure we get out there, we visit, and we talk about our program and the value of our feeding efforts. So I will address that.
Thank you.
Will do, Kevin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Is that Michael Johnson's school? He just retired, didn't he? Is that 181 in District 17? I think Michael just retired. So I know.
No, that would have been 161.
61, 181. We'll go to 181. Chris, let's get on the calendar for this week.
Will do, Kev.
Thank you.
Okay. So thank you, Kevin, so much for being here. Thank you for your presentation. And you're on with us every month. So members, if you have questions, please submit them. Please use the questionnaire so that they're prepared to answer and they have, all the information that they need. I know that there was something in the chat. Rima, can you see what was in the chat?
Yeah, I actually threw it in there. So I know that everybody saw the video because I got a lot of text messages about the student using the bathroom outside. And I know that we all focused on that. I want to zoom out a little bit and focus on what perpetuates a situation that forces bus staff to do that. And that is long routes. That is routes starting at 5:30 in the morning, and the school doors don't open till the UFT contract starts. And that's not UFT is outside waiting for the kids when their contract starts. They are coming outside at that time. So it's 8:10, they're walking out at 8:10. They're not there at 8 waiting for kids. This is resulting in students that ride the bus losing access to hot breakfast, losing access to social time before school, losing access to using the bathroom before school after being on a bus for 1 to 3 hours. And so I want to focus on the situations and what can we do to change that, since there's not a lot we can do to change the UFT contract. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's great feedback, Rima. I mean, it's important, the student experience. And so 2 of the things I mentioned earlier is just to really focus in on the new routing system that would be more predictable, will be more on time, and then it'll show publicly for everyone what time school starts, what time the bus is arriving, to get a true sense, a legitimate sense of on-time arrival, and then work backward on the route complexity and to get down to the shorter routes. I think what we saw was encouraging. I don't want to share the results yet, but we think that we'll have more capacity to break routes, and to your point, shorten the routes and then sharpen our on-time arrival to make sure we're not getting there early. And then in such cases where there's a morning program, how can we be responsive and be there with schools and principals that have a morning program to be as responsive as possible, rather than missing key operational or educational opportunities at the school, be it breakfast program, physical education program, or right at the class. So we'll make sure we come back with how we're moving forward on the routing program to make sure that transparency and accountability is there for the community to see at large.
Thank you. Okay, so that was it. For the sake of time, we're going to move forward. Kevin, if you'd like to stay for Jeopardy, you're more than welcome. If you have to go, we totally understand.
The custodian wants his desk back, so I gotta go.
All right.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you. Have a good day. Okay, Becca, we ready for Jeopardy? Our New York City Public School family and friends, if you would like to stay for Jeopardy and answer some questions, you are more than welcome to stay and participate. So Becca, pick the next category, and it goes by hands raised. First hand raised gets to answer the question.
All right, so we'll do respect for all for 200.
Hope everyone was paying attention because these things were said during the conversation.
So the latest anti-bullying campaign.
Mark Ramperson actually mentioned it. Come on, guys. Mark Ramperson said it. He said the latest campaign. No one? What about our New York City Public School friends? Priscilla?
Respect for all.
No.
Oh, no.
It's the week. It's respect for all, but the latest anti-bullying campaign. Kindness over bullies. Kindness over bullies. All right, Becca, pick the next category.
All right, we'll try again for respect for all 300. New York City Public Schools Respect for All program campaign launched in. My mom's guessing in the background.
Anyone? Violetta.
Was it 2007?
Yes, it was.
Okay, good. I got it.
Pick the next category.
Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, I got so excited. Black History Month for 100.
Okay, this 1954 Supreme Court case ended legal segregation in public schools.
I feel like everyone should know this. No one? Where are our New York City Public School?
Oh, Melissa.
Melissa, go ahead,
Is it
Melissa.
Brown versus the Board of Ed?
Thank you. Yes. Pick the next category.
Black History Month for 200.
He was the first Black Supreme Court justice.
Melissa.
Thurgood Marshall.
Next category.
Yay.
I'll keep going. Black History for 300.
Okay, she became the first Black woman to travel to space in 1992 aboard the Space Shuttle Endeavour STS-47.
Anyone? We had to make it educational, and we're still, come on, guys. Bandana.
Hi, who is Mae Jemison, I think? I'm not sure.
Yes.
Dr. Mae Jemison?
Mae Jemison.
Okay,
Yep.
the next category. Bandana, pick the next category.
Hey, Black History Month.
Sorry, I couldn't hear.
Very low. Can you just speak up a little bit?
Black History Month.
Okay, we'll go to the next 400. She was a brilliant Black mathematician and a human computer at NASA whose calculations were critical to missions like John Glenn's orbital flight and Apollo 11.
Caroline.
I think who is Katherine Johnson? I'm messing up her last name.
You got it.
Katherine, there you go.
Pick the next category, please, Caroline.
Can we take acronyms for 400?
MTSS.
Caroline.
Believe it's multi-tiered support system.
Yeah, it's the
System of supports. There you go.
But you had the language. Okay, next category.
Can we have who's who in New York City Public Schools for 200?
Who is this person? Rima.
Glenda Esperance, the D79 superintendent.
Yes. Pick the next category.
Acronyms for 200.
I am.
Violetta.
Was this the illustrative math? Is that illustrative math? I don't know.
Potato, potato.
Yeah.
Illustrative. Okay.
Next category.
Let's do nominations and elections for 100. Let's close that one out.
Okay, true or false? President's councils must form their nominating committees prior to their election meeting.
Violetta.
That's false. President's councils do not form nominating committees.
See, you're listening.
Okay.
Okay, next
Oh,
category.
again, okay. Let's do Black History Month for 500.
This 1964 law banned discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin.
Tanya.
The Civil Rights Act of 1964. Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll do who's who in New York City Public School 500.
Everybody should have their hand raised right now. Tanya.
Our New York City Chancellor, Mara Samuels.
Yes. Next category.
And I will say who's who 400.
Who is this person? Tanya.
Is that Christoph?
No.
No.
All right, I'll answer because, oh, Rima, you gonna answer?
Fred Walsh, your superintendent.
My superintendent for CUNY and Urban Assembly. Okay, Rima, pick the next category.
Close it for 300.
Who is this person?
I'm raising my hand. I'm raising my hand.
Superintendent Angelis, I'm like cheating now because
Yo, you cheated. That's
this
crazy.
is
That's
this is just I can't
crazy.
find the raise your hand thing.
Okay, but I said my hand was
Tina is
raised
a
first and you just said it.
cheater.
I'm dead.
Uno. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Quentin. Quentin gets the points. He actually raised his hand and followed the rules.
You're funny.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that acknowledgement.
All right. Quentin, next category.
We're going to go respect for all 400.
Report a bullying and harassment incident to this person in your child's school.
Caroline.
Who is your principal?
No. I mean, that is one that you would do, but that's not the answer to this question. Ashley.
Who is your parent coordinator?
That is another person, but that's not the answer to this question.
Think of a category.
Letitia.
Who is your respect for all liaison?
Thank you. Yes. Okay, Letitia, pick the next category.
Ooh, acronyms for 500. Go for the gusto.
So,
Oh my goodness. Oh my G.
Omni, we were just talking about Omni.
Yeah,
Does
stands for
anyone know
New
what
York.
Omni? What is it?
Oh, good. Where's Christina now? Where's Dr. Melendez when you need her to cheat? Where is she at now?
I am Googling. I am Googling.
No cheating, no
Oh,
cheating. Tanya has
hey.
her hand up. Tanya has her hand up. No
Tanya
cheating.
always has her hand up.
I love you too, Christina.
I do. I love you
One
too.
Metro New York.
There you go. I bet
Oh,
you
I
nobody
just
knew
learned
that.
something. No one knew
Wait,
that.
what was it? Wait, what was it? Say it again because I really want to learn what it is. What is
One
it?
Metro
One
New
Metro
York.
New
Oh,
York.
one Metro.
Stop it.
Yeah, no,
Somebody did know. Somebody knew.
Yeah, Tanya.
right.
And the
Rima.
chat.
All right, Tanya, next category.
I say acronyms of 3.
STEM.
Caroline.
Ooh.
Science, technology, engineering, mathematics.
There you go.
Last
Okay,
category.
last one.
Respect for All Week encourages students to build positive.
Everyone should have their hands up. We thought this wasn't so hard. We thought this was going to be easy. Caroline. You're muted.
I'm just gonna fill in the blank with what I think.
Oh.
Positive relationships.
There you go.
Oh, okay, they're perfect.
That's it.
Y'all really did a number on us this
It
time,
is.
man. This is
You guys are so funny. Okay, next time I guess we'll make it a little bit easier because
No, people need
No,
to
we like
study.
hard. Stop it. We're New
Yeah,
York.
yeah, we need to just learn. This was awesome. I stayed for it. I love it.
I'm so glad you do. I'm glad that like learning should be fun. Learning, is hard sometimes, and to make it a little bit fun and to learn facts, and sometimes memory picks it up a little bit faster when you're doing something you enjoy. So we're trying. We're definitely trying. Yes, professional development. If you guys have like categories you want us to use, like, send them, share. Like this is your space, it's our space, we want to empower everyone and make them feel welcome and invited and included. So please share, anything you'd like us to talk about. We ask you in the questionnaires for topics and what support you need. So please, answer, fill out the questionnaires. We'd love to see an increase in the questionnaires being filled out. So please. So that is it for our agenda. If anyone has any questions, raise your hand. Women's History Month. Okay, got it. Violetta, slides. Anything left on the slides? I know Lunar New Year, so happy Lunar New Year to all who celebrate. Happy Black History Month to everyone, and to happy Valentine's Day. We have Friday the 13th tomorrow. So that's like a little odd, followed by our wonderful Valentine's Day. So we hope, there's not a full moon. There is a full moon. I don't know. Letitia, you have a question?
I have a statement. Fun Black History Month fact.
Okay.
February 14th is also Frederick Douglass's birthday. So happy that too.
Okay. Happy birthday, Frederick Douglass. Happy birthday to Rima's son. So yes, our next Chancellor's Parent Advisory Council meeting is Thursday, March 12th. And what is that? That was odd. Okay, so you can stop sharing. Yes, Transit Equity Month. Rosa Parks' birthday was February 4th. Yes, we do like themes. Okay, if there are no other questions, would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
a motion to
I
adjourn.
motion.
Second.
Caroline?
Second.
Third.
Wait, it was Caroline who second?
Well, District 31.
Melissa, okay. Thank you. It is 12:21.